When I was growing up, I remember the first time I had ever seen a Mega Man game. See, I was a Sega kid, and there were no Mega Man games on the Sega Genesis, so I was first introduced to Mega Man on the original PlayStation. I was at a friend's house, and as I was walking into his room, he had a copy of Mega Man X4 booted up. So you can imagine the scene where he had me sit off to the side to wait as I spectated another one of his failed attempts at beating the final boss. But man, the graphics, the music, the gameplay, it all really left an impression on me. The only thing I had to compare it to at the time was the Sonic games that I was playing on my Genesis. But yo, it felt like Mega Man X4 was pretty much the next level of quality when it came to a platformer. Well, at least until I got to play a 3D platformer for the first time. And you know, it's kind of funny how spotty memories can be sometimes, because in this case, the next thing I remember was some random anime cutscenes, stages, bosses, and really terrible voice acting, but all out of order. Still, ever since then, Mega Man X has always been a series that I've adored, and that's why I was happy to finally get a chance to play a newer entry in the series in 2024 with Mega Man X Dive Offline. So I'm playing this cool new Mega Man X game that has all these character collecting and building systems, reminding me of Genshin Impact while keeping the core Mega Man X gameplay intact and offline, enjoying it very much. Which led me to hitting up the homie Megaran, who, if you don't already know, is such a big fan of Mega Man that he literally named himself after the character. I recommended over text that he tried the game and asked if he ever heard about it. Then he replies, "No, I have not heard of that game, but I've been playing this indie game called 30XX, and I'm pretty sure it's better than any Mega Man that I've ever played."
Hold up, wait a minute, something ain't right.
How could that possibly be possible? I mean, at this point in time, I had already played 20XX, which was cool for being a co-op Mega Man X ripoff, but it was way too cheesy, and while it was fun, it just didn't have the characters and the setting or story to stack up against Mega Man X. I mean, I can make a whole video about Zero and how dope of a character he is. How could 30XX possibly be
4 to 6 weeks later?
Yo, Mega Man X sucks compared to this game. Check it. Whether it's your first time or you need a retreat, this is your place for video games and fresh beats. LB and me, last BeNeVoLeNcE and Kimmy. This video is going to be a little special as I have Mushroom Z and Megaran with me to bring you guys a collaborative review of 30XX, a two-player co-op roguelike action platformer available on the Nintendo Switch and PC via Steam. At first glance, it shouldn't take an expert to see that 30XX is heavily inspired by the Mega Man games, especially the Mega Man X sub-series. But keep in mind that there's a lot going on under the hood. 30XX is deceptively straightforward, carrying this seemingly bottomless depth of nuance once you dig into it and start discovering its features and secrets. But we'll try to cover the basics. There are 3 modes available in this game, all of which can be played in 2-player co-op. Standard, which features procedurally generated runs that will take you through a random order of stages to the end and final boss. Mega Mode, which plays a lot like a typical Mega Man game, trading out the rogue elements and instead opting for standard playthroughs where you can just choose between each normal boss to face before the end, all while gaining permanent upgrades along the way and allowing for an infinite amount of deaths. And then there's Garbage Trash Mode, featuring anything from cool and interesting level layouts to terrible and tedious jokes brought to you for the most part by other players. Of course, I'm kidding. But I like to say that the definitive experience is Standard Mode, but that's just my opinion. I also think it's worth trying Mega Mode early on to at least get a handle on the enemies, stages, and mechanics. You start off with 2 playable characters, Nina and Ace. Nina plays like your typical Mega Man with a regular Buster Shot and Charge Shot, while Ace plays a lot like Zero from the X series, equipped with a stronger melee saber attack combo that also charges, and a somewhat unique boomerang shot thing that's sort of useful for hitting enemies at a distance, I guess. My favorite character to play, however, was the third character who was unlockable. That was Delta. This was mainly because I love how Delta carried the primary weapons of both Nina and Ace, and I also loved his design and his special charging mechanic. See, instead of holding down a button to charge either the saber or the buster shot, he'd have to hit an enemy 3 times with one of his weapons to charge the opposite weapon. There's also a unique DLC character named Dolly or something as well. The boomerang thing I mentioned earlier is one of the game's techniques. Techniques and powers are special attacks typically earned through defeating bosses, just like in the Mega Man X games. However, beating a boss doesn't always mean you're forced to take a power or a technique after every victory. Once you've defeated a few bosses, you can choose among a small number of options, such as currency to buy more upgrades or alternative passives. The main game currency comes in the form of nuts and also tokens. And while there are a number of ways to obtain nuts, such as defeating enemies or finding them in boxes, they're kind of scarce. You'll find as you play more and more that they're incredibly important for buying upgrades at shops or buying healing at vending machines that dispense health. Tokens are much more rare than nuts, but they allow you to use slot machines for random rewards. Most upgrades come in the form of augments that have various effects, such as raising your stats or making enemies drop more items. Other upgrades come in the form of armor pieces that cost core points to attach to your character. Each armor piece, once equipped, will affect your character in one way or another. But here's a quick tip. Don't get too caught up in these specifics, as the best thing to do is to try to complete armor sets just like in the Mega Man X games. Completing an armor set gives special armor set bonuses that are totally worth it, and since this game also allows for you to equip multiple armor sets, completing more than one will make you feel like a boss character, trust me. As you play through a run, you'll have choices given to you between augments and armor pieces. You'll also want to keep track of the bonuses given to your main stats as you go, that being your strength, which multiplies your attack value, your power, which multiplies the damage on your powers and techniques, as well as your speed and jump height. The idea here is while you're on a run, you want to give thought to how you're building your character, what you want your character to specialize in, and what stats you want to build along the way. There's also quite a bit of risk and reward thrown in for good measure, as you'll find quite a few challenges along the way that will give you rewards based on your completion of said challenges, with more options for upgrades based on how well you do to complete them. After each run, you'll collect 2 permanent forms of currency, Memoria and Titan Shards. These can buy permanent upgrades to your runs that are mostly non-character or stat-based. You know, things like options for choosing stages after bosses, or re-rolls for dropped augments, stuff like that.
Oh hey, yeah, I'm a newcomer and stuff who's never played Mega Man, Mega Man X, or anything alike. This was, from what I remember, the first roguelike.
Psst, what?
That's how you say it?
Yeah.
Roguelike game I've ever played. And it sure is a game. And that's why I paused. No game is perfect, I know, but man can it be broken. It's a really good game. And there are many things I personally enjoy about the game.
And just like in any traditional Mega Man game, there are 8 main bosses. For 30XX, you got bosses like Echo Beast,
Capital Punishment,
the Owl,
and ChatGPT,
the Clock. And then, halfway through the levels, you have mini bosses like the Snake, the Wheel, or as we like to call them, Easy Exploit, and
the
What's up, y'all? This is Mega Ran offering a little bit of my 2 cents on 30XX, a Mega Man X-like, roguelike game that I really enjoyed. As a big Mega Man fan, you probably imagine I'm pretty biased, which is why I don't normally review games, particularly ones that I would love. But for my boy, Last BeNeVoLeNcE, I would gladly do so. Now, I had a lot of fun with this. I like Ace for the melee. I like Nina for the long distance. I like being able to go back and forth when you want to play different styles. But I'm not a roguelike fan, so I do enjoy that they have a mega mode where you can just pick a boss and go right at it. It's probably the most optimal, most acceptable Mega Man X like or clone that there is out there. It's not the same as Mega Man at all. It's got a lot of different things. Maybe it gets a little slow and sluggish at some points, but it's an awesome challenge. I think it's really fun. Co-op is cool as well. And this is a game that I'd say if you are even a little bit of a fan of Mega Man, you got to at least check it out. And if you like roguelikes, I think you really enjoy it. That is not necessarily my cup of tea, but overall, I do enjoy this game. I still pick it up and play it every once in a while, whether on stream or whether I'm just chilling at home. So 20XX and its sequel 30XX, I think, are both really fun. They've got wacky conversation type stuff going on in the dialogue that I really enjoy. Things like that that'll make you smile and laugh, and a good amount of challenge, which is what any Mega Man fan should want. So here's my minute-and-a-half review of 30XX. Hope you enjoy.
What I like most is breaking the game. Want to see what's wrong about the game and glitch out of bounds or something. And yeah. Oh boy, can you break it alright? Okay, so maybe the game is as breakable as a mobile game, opinion made. But it's still a polished game with awesome pixel art. Like, look at this, it's amazing. It's some well-made gameplay that...
Yeah, the game might seem a little broken once you start exploiting the systems a bit, but we encountered very little in the way of serious or game-breaking glitches or bugs as we played countless runs on the Nintendo Switch together. Chances are, if you liked 20XX, you'll love this. If you enjoy other speedy roguelikes such as Dead Cells, you'll definitely like this. And if, like myself, you like Mega Man X, you'll like this better. We appreciate you taking the time to watch our video review. It takes forever to make these things, so if you're new here, please like, subscribe, and click on that bell so you can be notified whenever me and my wife Kimmy make new videos. Also, please check out both Megaran and Mushroom Z here on YouTube and Twitch. They're both friends of mine, and they also make content, so support them if you can. You can find links to their channels in the description below. And I want to give a shout out to our Patreon supporters, D. Marquet Davis, Ben Romer, Proto Buster Sword, and Not Zach Not Murphy. We appreciate you guys sticking in there with us, and we promise there's more to come. Peace.